Hello, this is Margaret Ajibada, the STEM Positive Disruptor, and today I have a special guest, Nishika Chettry. She's a software engineer. She's a multi-award winner, and she's also an author. She will tell us more about that. She can talk about it. The reason why we set up this platform, we want to educate, we want to raise awareness, we want to change people's perception. We want to demystify what STEM is, that's science, technology, engineering, mathematics. We want to show the diverse roles and the diverse people that work within our industry. We want to enthuse more young people to consider the STEM education, but also which will lead into a career. And Nishika is a prime example of what is possible. In such a young, she's still young in her career, but she's done amazingly so much, and she's just an amazing young lady as well. So, we want to celebrate her. We want to enjoy her who she is and where she's going as well, because her future is very bright, and she will be an inspiration to so many people out there. So again, we also what we want to do is also ask you to please, if you enjoy what we are doing here, please support us by liking it, by commenting, and also subscribing to our channel as well, because we want to spread the word. We want to make the difference. We want to bring the public into our domain. We want to change the perception of how people see us. And she she's going to tell us more about it. So without further ado, welcome, Nishika.
Thank you so much, Margaret. Thank you.
No problem. So please tell us more about you and your journey from how you started and now where you are, because you work with Renaissance,
Yes,
and
that is correct.
yes, and you work in software engineer, but you do a bit of conducting or semiconductors. Oh, well, you can tell us more about it because you know what you're doing. So rather be trying to say. So welcome again.
Okay, no, thank you. Yes, so I am originally from India, so I was born and raised in India, and I moved to the UK about 6 to 7 years ago with my family. And yeah, so when I started my journey, like I've always been interested in STEM. I wanted to become an astronaut when I was a kid.
Okay.
I was quite inspired by, I still am, by Dr. Kalpana Chawla, who was the first Indian-born woman to go into space. And so I always knew I wanted to work within the STEM industry. And then I sort of had an interest in robotics when I grew older. And then I did what most people do nowadays. I just Googled what the world's top robotics engineers have studied. And they all had a degree in electronics and computer science. So I thought I'd give it a try. I did not have a very strong background in electronics. I had done physics for my A levels, so I had studied about current electricity and static electricity, and I had quite enjoyed those topics. So I thought that maybe I should give it a try, and yeah, I joined Aston University to study electronics and computer science. And yeah, and that's where sort of my journey started. And once I started my degree, I just learned so much and I received so many opportunities as well from my university and also an organization called the UKESF, who have been quite an integral part of my degree journey because I secured a scholarship with them and that secured me a year-long placement with the company that I currently work for, Renaissance. So I studied 2 years, did my year-long placement with Renaissance, um, went back to university, finished my degree, passed with a first class integrated master's in electronic engineering and computer science, and then rejoined Renaissance as a software engineer, and that's the work that I do currently. So I basically create a very special type of software called firmware. And this firmware basically sits on tiny SoCs, tiny chips. And yeah, they are used for like a lot of different applications, ranging from AI, robotics to sort of industrial IoT connectivity and those sort of things. So yeah, that's currently what I do.
I'm really, really impressed with you as well because you're very humble as well because you won quite a few awards based on your top mark in in your class, you got the top
Yes.
mark. Is it ninety five
Yes.
percent? And you,
Yes.
or something like that. Anyway. And the thing about you as well that they showed you as a role model because you not only that did you get a top mark, you were also the UKESF Scholar of the Year in 2022,
Yes.
and the Bright Sparks 2022, and in 2023 you became the IET. Was it Talent Award. You received the IET Future Talent, and you are, if you think about it, because your tagline says "Aspire to make a difference," and I think
Yeah.
that's what you're all about. And I think when we look at you, when I look at you, because I met you a couple of weeks, no, last, it was early this month I met you, didn't I?
Yes.
At
Yes.
the one of the STEM regional events hosted by the Big Bang event, and
Yes.
you were just humble and just amazing as well. And you were just the way your process of thinking and how you interacted with the young kids there as well, and just when you were judging as well, I was so impressed with you as well. And the thing about you is I like is that you're quite visionary in so many ways. I mean, you're an author. So tell us more about you being an author.
Yeah, sure, definitely. So alongside being an engineer, since I was a kid, I really liked art and I like sketching in my free time as well. So I do a bit of sketching, a bit of painting. I wouldn't say I'm an expert or a professional. I'm still an amateur, but yeah, I do enjoy the creativity, the art side of things as well. And I myself, I do a lot of stuff for wellness. So like habits and routines and journaling is quite important for me. It helps keep a balance in life. So, handling job and I do a lot of outreach work and handling family and friends and keeping everything in balance. So, and that I personally I do like to journal a lot. So that's why I thought I'd combine the two of it. And so I just published some wellness journals. They are like a 12-week wellness journal. Four of the designs that I've published on Amazon. And basically they sort of summarize you know they've got these key questions because when I started journaling, I found it really difficult to just sit down and write on a piece of paper what's going on in my mind. So I
Yeah.
came up with these sort of prompts, these questions that can sort of help you pen things down, help pen your emotions down and
Hmm.
your thoughts down, basically. So what's
Hmm.
going on in your head. So yeah, I came up with those prompts that I find useful. And yeah, I decided to put them all together in sort of a journaling book which anyone can use in case they are sort of struggling with mental health or um, just want to get on track with everything. So yeah, that's where that comes from.
That's amazing. And what's the name of the journal? What's it called? Because I know it's on Amazon. So it could be very useful for people who are, sometimes we keep things inside, but actually writing things down makes such a huge difference. Helps you to, in a way, just to let go of all those things that's hanging in your head. And I think having a journal and having that sort of steps to help you to revalue where you are makes a difference. So what's the name of the journal? That if people are
So
interested, yeah.
oh yeah, sure. So I've got four of them. One is called Hope. All of them are like they have the name 12-week wellness journals. One is called Hope. Another one is Change. One is called Peace, and one is called Growth.
You hear that? If you think if you need help, again, I know we're laughing, but I think it's also about knowing that we all have struggles sometimes. We need to find an outlet, and your outlet is journaling. It's writing down those things down. And there are quite a lot of people who do that, and it helps them. It helps them to boost and rejuvenate themselves and their mind as well. And I think that's so important. So thank you very much for that. So just let's go back to your journey because I know your parents came over, you've been studying, and you've had really great support. But you also worked hard. You're a self-achiever. You achieved quite a lot of things. You've done quite a lot of things. and you are a role model as well. So what are the things, what was your drivers? I knew you wanted to be, you aspired to be an astronaut, which is why not? I think that's wonderful, and it's still possible because you just never know where your journey is going to lead, isn't it? And
Yeah.
why was that so important to you, and what was your vision to, because when you were studying, I think I read somewhere where you said that there were lots of things you weren't even aware about. You had to learn as you went along. In a way, you're
Yes.
winging it, if that makes sense. And then
Yes.
that's what you did. So how did you get yourself into that position? Because the reason I'm asking these questions is that there are lots of young people out there who sometimes do not know where they want to go, what they would like to do. But even though you wanted to be an astronaut, you knew there was a journey, you knew there were things, and you also had a
Yeah.
love for robotics. There were things you had to do, and you were one of those who went out and found out information in order to help you. And then you looked at what are the support systems that I need to put in place to enable to get to that next level self. So please tell us more about it, just in the detail, just very briefly, what was that like?
So if you're talking about being visionary and like where that drive comes from, as you mentioned, well,
Well, aspiring
to
to
be
be a
quite,
difference.
yeah, yeah, exactly, aspiring to make a difference. So, to be honest, I grew up in a house where I was basically said that even if you get a 9 to 5 job, that's like well and good. That's good
Mm,
enough.
mm,
So it wasn't that ambition was not really put into my head. It was not
mm,
the way I was brought up. It was a thing of where like, you should do well in life, you should get a job, get a degree, and just progress well. Uh, but then I think I wasn't quite happy with the idea somewhere in my mind, somewhere in my heart. I just didn't want a normal 9 to 5 and, just get on with life.
mm.
So I used to watch a lot of TED Talks actually.
Ah.
And one of them, I still remember I was in year 11 or 12 around that time. And yeah, I was already interested in robotics and it was like sort of looking into, what kind of degrees I could study and, what kind of skill set is needed to become a robotics engineer. So I was doing my research and one night I came across this TED Talk. It was, I think, by an Indian actor. And was watching the TED Talk and he basically said something which struck me, which was like, you need to dream big and you need to dream about things that, if you say that in front of a lot of people, they might laugh at you and be like,
Mm,
oh, are you out of your mind? Like
mm,
that's way too high. That's way too beyond what you're capable of.
mm,
And so that really struck with me. So I think it came it through that after watching that TED Talk, that drive of, becoming the best at what I do,
mm, mm,
um, making a change in this world.
mm, mm.
And a lot of thing also comes from basic empathy as well, I believe, because you read news articles every day, you're
Mm,
seeing what's going on in the world,
mm, mm,
and you can't just sit behind and just watch things.
mm.
You want to go and help out people and make a
Yeah,
difference. that's
yeah.
that's where the making a difference bit came from.
Okay.
um I wanted to become an astronaut and I wanted to go into space. I still do, but I was what I read a lot of articles about climate change around that
Mm,
time.
mm.
And I was like, well, yeah, it's my dream to go into space and I will do hopefully one day.
Yes, you
but
will. Of
there,
course you will.
but there is a lot of work that needs to be done here on this planet
Sure.
first.
Hmm.
So I want to focus on that. And yeah, then I was basically I was that's where that I want to make a difference in the lives of all the people around the world came in. I want to help tackle the climate change because I work in tech and since I already knew about technology and I was doing my reading and doing my research and I knew what kind of power technology holds and the
Yeah.
kind of difference you can make using
Mm,
technology. And I was like,
mm.
because I'm already interested in this field
Yeah, yeah,
and I'm also really concerned about these problems I have,
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that I can probably help make that difference. So I think that's where the drive came from. And then it was just that I want to be the best at what I do. And
Mm,
and like, it's not about comparing yourself with others,
yeah,
but it's just my personal growth and that
yeah,
I want to be the best.
yeah, yeah.
And that's when I'll be able to make this difference. So yeah, I think that's what drove me, and I think till date that is what drives me. I dream of like impossible things that I don't share it with others, otherwise they might think I'm like crazy or I'm out of my mind. But
Yeah.
that's what I think of like there's I think this quotation like dream for the stars and you'll at least reach the moon or something like that. So
100. You inspire me, and I love your vision. I love you, and you're right. Sometimes you've got to be careful who you tell your vision too, because not everyone can see what you see, and sometimes
yeah,
they can dampen that vision because they are limited in their own thinking. So for you to think out of the box challenges their way of thinking itself. But
yeah.
I seriously, I can see in the moon. I can see going up there. I can see you achieving quite a lot. Only because I think you made a point. Said, look, it's for you. This is my drivers. This is what I want to be the best at whatever I do. And the way you do it, it's not like you're stepping on anybody else. What you're doing is being true to yourself. And I think
Yeah,
you have to know you. And I think this is what you're very wise in such a young age. You're just, the way you see things is it's so nice. It's so nice to see that it encourages us. And this is what I want you to do, because I want young people to see you and say, look, Nishika did this. She started off with nothing, but she knew what she liked. She identified what she enjoyed, or what she would like to do. And then she did an exploration. She did some research. You talked about you listened to lots of TED Talks.
yeah,
You did lots of research on the internet as well. But you
yeah,
also knew that, but there are things that you want to make a difference with. So looking at climate change, but you also know the power of technology and how can you marry that? How can you make both of them work together? And this is so important, because what you're saying is that you can have a passion for something, but it's also about you exploring what is available to enable me to do, or at least
yes,
give me those stepping stones to get to where I want to go to. And it's just like when you talked about when you decided that you wanted to do robotics, and that you then did a research about all the top guys that did robot, and they did electronics engineering, and then you said, this is where I want to go. And I think this is an inspiration. This is why I want you to be able to sort of talk to the young people that are coming up, that look, you started where, I mean, you had to start from the bottom, but you knew that you wanted to be the best at whatever you're doing. And that you can already see with your when you got your first class in from the Austin University in election. Was it mixed, isn't it? Combined engineering, isn't it? Computer
yes,
science as well as electronics. But also you got the top mark. And then and you will be acknowledged by that. But that's your drive, and I think that's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. And I applaud you for wanting the best and achieving for the best as well. So, you talked about this journal, because I think there's a synergy here, because there must have been times when you felt overwhelmed as well. So how did you
yes.
manage that? I mean, I know you've got your support network around you. What did
Yeah.
you do yourself? How did you get away from that feeling of being overwhelmed to where you could find a place of peace, and then start pulling, stripping off all those things that are weighing heavy on you? What did you do to achieve that?
Yeah, so I do still get overwhelmed at times because I feel like, when you're trying to do everything and you want to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
everything, you want to do so much,
yeah.
you overload yourself with work as well.
Yes, of course.
So I do feel that now as well. So as I said, journaling is one of the things. Journaling has always helped me. I have a little journal that I always write pages in when, my head is not in the right space and like I'm feeling overwhelmed with all the work or emotions
Mm-hmm.
or anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
When I don't feel life is going on the track that I want it to be on,
Mm-hmm.
I opt for journaling. But alongside that, I think, as you mentioned, I do have a very supportive network of friends and family and even some of the professors at my university that I'm still in touch with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's about reaching out to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I know not everyone is fortunate enough to have that kind of a support system with them.
Yeah.
But in my case, I am lucky enough to have one. So I think speaking to my friends and my family is something that always, always helps me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially I do suffer a bit from imposter syndrome time to time.
I think we
I'm
all
not saying
do. So-
yeah, I think we all do in this
Yeah,
industry or in general in life as well. I think
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
does.
Mm,
So yes, whenever that kicks in and like I start talking down to myself, I think I have my family by my side and my
mm,
friends as well who are always then who then make me realize that look, you've come this far
mm,
and you cannot talk to yourself that way. And
mm.
I also have something else that I do. I have a vision board with
Okay,
me,
yeah.
so I create a vision board at the start of the year.
Mm,
I put up lots of pictures of everything that I want to achieve that year onto
mm,
that one little board, and
mm,
I keep it just above my desk where I work.
mm,
So yeah, I sometimes just looking at that helps. It's
mm,
like,
mm,
this because some of that, if for example, so far we're 6 months into the year, I have already accomplished some of the targets that I had set out. So
mm,
like just looking at that and thinking about that, thinking about the bigger picture of, I've
mm,
come this far this year.
mm,
And
mm.
this board is just for this year. I've done these previous years as well. I've
Yeah,
come
yeah.
really far, like
Mm,
in India, from India to the UK, and
mm,
then, working hard and making a place for myself in the industry when
mm,
I
mm.
genuinely had no connections in the industry.
Yeah.
I was in fact new to the country itself.
Of course, yeah.
So making a space for myself here, and then the a goal of mine that I have, that I want to make space for other women as well in this industry. Now that I have a space for myself, I want to make
Yeah.
space for other women as well, because
Wow.
we are all aware of the gender gap that we have
Mm,
currently. So
mm.
I think thinking about that bigger picture helps sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, as I said, otherwise I've got my support network fortunately with me, who always sort of encourage me and support me whenever I'm feeling down. So yeah.
Jen, that is so wonderful. And I do love having that vision board, and because you look that helps to encourage you, inspire you to say, okay, fine. And then seeing that you're able to tick all the boxes as you go
Yes.
along shows it gives you encouragement that you can keep going, keep going. I think it's wonderful. So based on your experience and based on what you've done, thank you so much for that. What would you say to a young person? Because you talked about your A levels, you did physics, and you
Uh,
they
y
didn't. Yeah, go on.
yes. So I did my A levels in India. So I did my A
Oh,
levels equivalent in India.
okay,
So there the system is slightly different. So we had like 6 subjects instead of the regular 3 to 4 that you have here.
okay.
So I had physics, computer science, maths, chemistry, English, and a regional language, which was Hindi.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, cool. And then because then you made that transition anyway, and because you're you of course you must have had top grades as well because for you to be able to make that transition. And when you went on to do your degree, again as you said you did some research. What would you say to a young person who's thinking of they're not really sure where they want to be? What would you say would be the key things they should think about while they're trying to sort out their next step? I doing a degree or whatever route to a professional, to wherever they would like to do in hopefully STEM, but
Yeah.
but in general, yeah.
Yeah, I think I would say firstly, as I say, look at the bigger picture of what you want from life. You
Mm,
don't need to have like a set goal. Like it's not like I want to become an astronaut or something, but
mm,
just
mm,
like a bigger
mm,
picture of like,
mm,
I want to be sort of semi here in a semi financially stable position in,
mm,
just something generic as well helps. But
mm,
seeing that bigger picture, and then what I did was I broke it down by doing my research. Um,
mm,
and then most importantly, actually finding what you enjoy and not what other people sort of try to, push you
impulse there,
into.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because that happened a couple of times with me as well. I was really interested in STEM, but someone was trying to deviate me into going into finance and that side of things. But I didn't listen to them. I knew I was true to myself. I knew
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
liked.
Mm,
And I was
mm,
like, even if I don't succeed, it is on me
yeah.
because
Mm,
this is what I want to do in life. So, and
mm,
if I don't give it a try, I would regret that.
mm,
So,
mm,
I think being self-aware, It's
Mm-hmm.
being self-aware is really important. Being true to yourself and actually figuring out what you enjoy
Mm-hmm.
is really important, because if you do something you enjoy, then you will automatically start excelling in it and you will do well regardless. So I think being true to yourself and seeing from, like, trying to find that bigger picture of where you
Mm-hmm.
want to be in life, what do you want to get out of life.
Yeah.
And I think I think I would say what's the word? Yeah, I cannot recall the word, but I would say perseverance. Yeah, that's the word. Perseverance.
Yeah, it's so
Um,
true. But
um,
yeah, go on, Karen. You're going
oh
to
yeah, no,
say,
I was just saying, for me, that one word, it holds a very, like, quite like impactful, that word. It holds a very deep meaning.
mm,
Um, and perseverance is really important, because for me, for example, I knew I wanted to become an astronaut, do something in robotics. I was interested in tech. I went into it, but it's not like I was just constantly like excelling or something. I had my downfalls, I had my bad days, but
mm.
it's about perseverance of, how you pick yourself up after that.
Yeah. So, do you know, it's so, so true. You need to persevere. You need to, because life is not straight. It's not a straight route. There's going to be deviations
Yeah.
sometimes, and it's actually appreciating and not. As you know, you talk about imposter syndrome as well. It's like, and you start beating yourself up. You don't do
Yes.
that. You take a step back and reflect and review where you are, and then move forward to the next step. And that's what you're doing as well. And I think also you talked about, having a journal helps you to write down things, helps you to just empty your head and put it down on paper. But also having that vision board as well makes a huge difference. But also about your vision, where you see yourself, what you want for you is what is your driver. So you want to be the best at every whatever you set out to do. And you
Yes.
also understand that, look, there may be times that you may not achieve that, but you're still that's your target point all the time. And I think that to me is a wonderful thing to have. And also it's an inspiration to young people as well, because when they come, it's not about you being strict with yourself. It's just being knowing, okay, maybe this is the direction I want to go, but try and see how do I navigate myself to get to that point as well. Do you know, Nishika, I am so proud of you. I am
Thank
so
you.
impressed with you. And
Thank
you
you.
are an inspiration and a role model to so many young people coming up, even for people who maybe feel stuck. The fact that you can see things beyond, as you always say, looking at the bigger picture, and perseverance is a key word. So,
Yes.
it's always, that is so true. And I think I want people to listen to you, and I want them to hear what you're saying, because what you've said is so, you're, for such a young person, you're very wise. May I ask you how old you
Thank you.
are?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm 23.
Well, you see, yeah. And you know what, I've been looking up there one day and I say, oh yeah, and Nishika Chettry, she's going to the moon.
I hope so. I
Oh,
do
you
hope
will.
so.
Thing, you're already starting. You're making connection. What you're also doing is building connections, and that is also a huge thing as well. So, when it will happen, we don't know, but it will happen, because what you're doing is building all your network, and you're speaking to the right people, and that's your. And in no time, people want to say, hold on a minute, Nishika, she has and she's doing great things where she's at. So what you're saying is that I will do my best wherever I'm at till the next stage, the next opportunity comes, and then move forward to the next opportunity. So to me, I believe everything is possible. The sky is the limit. So
Yeah.
you dream for the stars, but go for the moon, right? And that's
Yeah.
what you're basically saying. And I am proud of you. And so thank you so much for having this
Oh, thank you.
conversation with me. And I want everyone to listen to, because the reason why we set up this platform, we want to educate, we want to raise awareness, we want to change people's perception and demystify STEM. We want to get people to see people like Nishika Chettry, who started off loving robotics, but had no idea about electronics. But she knew that that's a route that she had to take, and she followed out her dreams to do it. Also aspiring to be the best that she can be, and achieving great heights for herself. And she's such an inspiration. And I want you to please listen to her. Please like this podcast, comment, and share with your network as well, because we want to spread the word. We want to have more of these conversations going and have people like Nishika coming on board to give us have a conversation with us on Mia's conversation. So thank you so much again, Nishika. Really, really proud of you, and I'm so grateful for you coming on board. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Margaret. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Thank you.